Hey, how are you doing? In today's video, I want to talk to you about what the Bible says about a man who feels lost. You wake up at 3 in the morning. Again. The ceiling stares back at you. Your wife is asleep next to you, and you don't want to wake her, so you just lie there. In the dark. You've got a good job, a house, a family that loves you. By every measure, your life looks solid on paper. But inside, you're walking through fog so thick you can't see your own hand in front of your face. You go through the motions. Coffee, shower, work. You smile when you need to smile. You answer questions. You fix things. You show up. But there's this feeling underneath it all. This weight, like you're supposed to know where you're going, but the map got burned. And nobody told you, so you just keep walking, hoping the path appears, hoping someone will tell you you're going the right direction. But nobody does. And the worst part? You can't even explain it to anyone. What are you gonna say? Hey, I'm lost. That's not something a man admits, so you carry it, alone, day after day. The not knowing. The confusion, the growing sense that maybe, just maybe, you've been heading the wrong way this whole time. If you're wrestling with that kind of feeling right now, that sense of being lost even when everything looks fine on the outside, hit that subscribe button. Because we need to talk about what happens when a man loses his direction. And trust me, you're not alone in this. There are millions of men right now who feel exactly like you do. Because when a man loses his direction, it's not just about geography, it's about identity, it's about purpose, and that's a wound that cuts deep. But to understand how this all started, I need to take you back to something that happened to a man in the Bible. A man who had everything, status, wealth, respect, but he was lost, completely lost, and his name was Jacob. And on that day, everything seemed perfectly normal. Jacob was a man with a plan. He'd spent his whole life making plans, actually. When he was younger, he'd tricked his own brother out of his birthright, deceived his father to steal a blessing. He ran away, worked for years to build a life in a foreign land, got married, had children, accumulated wealth. The guy was strategic. He was always 10 steps ahead. He knew what he wanted, and he took it. But here's the thing about living that way, about always having a plan, always maneuvering, always calculating. You never actually stop to ask yourself if you're going the right direction. You're too busy moving to notice that you might be lost. Jacob was on his way home. After years away, his brother Esau was coming to meet him with 400 men. And Jacob was terrified, because all those years ago he'd done something unforgivable to his brother, and now he was about to face him. He didn't know what would happen. For the first time in his life, his planning, his strategy, his ability to control the outcome, none of it mattered. So he sent his family ahead. He put them on the other side of a river called the Jabbok. And then he did something that tells you everything about where he really was. He stayed behind, alone, in the dark, waiting. And that's when his whole life changed. In the middle of the night, a man, and the text says it was actually God in human form, came and grabbed Jacob, and they wrestled. For hours, they were fighting in the darkness, and Jacob couldn't win. He wasn't stronger, but he wouldn't let go. Even as his hip was being dislocated, even as pain shot through his body, even as he was clearly losing, he held on. Because in that moment, wrestling with God in the dark, Jacob finally understood something. He wasn't lost because he'd made bad choices. He wasn't lost because of his circumstances or his brother or his past mistakes. He was lost because he'd been trying to find his way alone. He'd been trying to control everything. And control, my friend, is just another word for running from God. The angel touched his hip and it went out of joint. Jacob was broken, literally. He couldn't walk the same way ever again, but he wouldn't let go. He held on to that angel and said, "I won't let you go unless you bless me." And God asked him a question. "What is your name?" Now, that seems like a strange question. God knew his name. His name was Jacob. But Jacob's name meant deceiver. It was a name that represented who he'd been his whole life. A man who manipulated, who lied, who tried to control his own destiny through cunning and force. And God said, "Your name is no longer Jacob. Your name is Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans, and you have overcome." But here's what people usually miss about that story. Jacob didn't overcome. He lost. He was beaten. He was broken. That his way of navigating the world, through control and manipulation and strategy, wasn't going to get him where he needed to go. Here's what I've learned in 30 years of working with men. Being lost isn't primarily about not having a map. It's about not being willing to admit that you need one. It's about believing that you're supposed to figure it out on your own. That asking for help is weakness. That admitting confusion is failure. And so a man keeps walking, in the dark. His hip was dislocated. He limped away from that encounter for the rest of his life. But God renamed him. God said, "This loss, this breaking, this moment when you finally stopped trying to control everything and just held on to me, that's your victory." That's the moment Jacob stopped being lost. Not because he figured out the right direction, not because he made a better plan, but because he finally admitted that he couldn't do it alone, hoping he stumbles onto the right path. But he never does, because the right path isn't something you find by walking harder or planning better. It's something you find by stopping, by getting quiet, by admitting that you're lost. Now, here's what Jacob's story teaches us about getting unlost. And I want you to listen carefully to this, because it's going to change how you think about your situation. The first thing Jacob had to do was stop running. He'd been running from his brother for years, running from the consequences of his own actions, running from the reality of who he'd become. And God basically said, "No more. You're going to face this. You're going to face yourself. You're going to face me." For you, stopping the running might look different. It might mean stopping the pretense that you've got it all figured out, stopping the 18-hour days at work that are supposed to make you feel like you're moving forward, stopping the endless scrolling, the constant distraction, the noise that keeps you from hearing your own thoughts. Because here's the truth. A man who's lost doesn't need more options. He needs silence. He needs to stop long enough to actually feel where he is and admit it. The second thing Jacob did was he wrestled. Now, I know that sounds violent, but what he was really doing was he was confronting. He was saying, "I'm not going anywhere until I understand what's happening here. I'm not going anywhere until I get a blessing. I'm not going anywhere until something changes." And God didn't punish him for that. God honored it. God responded to his desperation. God said, "Okay, you want to wrestle? Let's wrestle. And let's see what happens when you finally come face to face with the truth about who you are." For you, that wrestling might mean getting honest with someone you trust. It might mean talking to a counselor or a pastor or a close friend and saying the things you've never said out loud. It might mean journaling your actual thoughts instead of the thoughts you think you're supposed to have. If you've ever felt that kind of confusion, that deep sense of not knowing which way to go even though everyone expects you to know, leave a comment down below. Tell me about it. I read every single one of them, and I want you to know that you're not crazy for feeling this way. It might mean praying, actually praying, not just going through the motions and saying, "God, I'm lost. I don't know what I'm doing. I need help." But here's the hard part, and this is where a lot of men get stuck. After Jacob wrestled with God, after his name was changed, after he was blessed, he still had to face Esau. He still had to walk into that situation that terrified him. But he walked into it differently. He walked in as a man who'd been broken and restored. A man who'd lost his ability to control everything and found something better in the process. So the third thing you need to do is you need to face what you've been running from. And I'm not saying that's easy. I'm saying that's necessary. Because you can't find your way forward when you're still running backward. My wife and I have been married for 40 years, and I've watched her do something that I had to learn the hard way. When she doesn't know something, she asks. When she's confused, she says so. When she needs help, she reaches out. And you know what that's given her? Peace, clarity, direction, because she's not wasting energy pretending. She's not lost. But my first 20 years, I spent them trying to figure everything out on my own, trying to be the guy who always knew the answer. And you know what that gave me? Exhaustion, confusion, a deep sense of being lost even though I was supposedly the guy with all the answers. God doesn't need eloquence. He needs honesty. Here's what's going to happen when you do these three things. You're not going to instantly know where you're going. Your circumstances aren't going to suddenly change, but something inside you is going to shift, because you're going to stop carrying the weight of pretending. You're going to stop walking in the dark by yourself, and you're going to realize something that Jacob realized on that dark night by the river. Being lost isn't the end. So here's what I want you to do, starting today. I want you to do three things. First, stop. Just stop. Whatever pace you're at, whatever you're running from, whatever you're pretending to understand, stop. Take a day. Take an evening. Take an hour if that's all you can manage. And be quiet. Be alone. And let yourself feel how lost you actually are. Don't fix it yet. Don't problem solve it. Just feel it. Second, talk to someone. One person, not everyone. Not social media. One person you trust. And tell them the truth. Tell them you're confused. Tell them you don't know which way to go. Tell them you've been pretending to have it figured out and you don't. That vulnerability, that admission, is where your healing starts. Third, pray. And I don't care if you haven't prayed in 20 years. I don't care if you don't know how. Just say something like this. I'm lost. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm tired of trying to figure this out alone. Help me. That's it. That's a real prayer. Being lost is actually the beginning. It's the moment when you finally get honest. When you finally reach out. When you finally stop trying to control everything and start trusting something bigger than yourself. Your life might look the same on the outside, but inside you're going to find your direction again. Not because you figured it out, but because you finally admitted you couldn't. I want to leave you with this. Jacob walked away from that encounter with a limp. For the rest of his life, he had a physical reminder of the night he wrestled with God. And I think that's exactly right. Your lostness, your confusion, your struggle, those aren't things to be ashamed of. They're the places where God meets you. They're the scars that prove you've been real with yourself and with Him. If this conversation has meant something to you, if you felt even a little bit less alone, knowing that even the great men of the Bible got lost and confused, hit that like button. and subscribe to this channel, because next week I'm going to talk to you about what to do when you finally find your way again, and you don't want to miss that. Leave a comment down below and tell me this. What's one thing you've been pretending to understand when you're actually completely lost? I'm going to be reading those comments and I want to hear from you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being real with yourself today. I'll see you in the next video.